In this video, I want to talk about my personal experiences with how to live a productive life and why I don't believe that people should strive for happiness. Instead, I believe that they should strive for simplicity, kindness, self-awareness, and self-improvement. And I also believe, and we should acknowledge that life is a constant journey and no one is a finished product. If I compare myself against the person that I was at 18 versus the person that I am now versus the person that I was at 25, I am profoundly different from those people. At 18, I had a 4.0 GPA at an Ivy League university. I made nationals in public speaking, and my mind was so clear that I could actually picture the words that I was going to say 2 or 3 sentences before, and I could formulate the words in my mind in a way that arranged them to be the most powerful. And then just fast forward 7 years, and when I was 25 years old, I was incredibly depressed. I was working as an investment banker, and then I was also that was an incredibly stressful environment, and then also I was working as a nightclub promoter. I had seen probably around 5 or 10 psychiatrists. I had taken around 15 psychotropic medication, and those medications had a profoundly negative experience on me to the point where I was sleeping 20 hours a day, I couldn't hold a regular job, and I could barely communicate. So you have a person who 7 years earlier was one of the best speakers in the country, and then simply 7 years later, I could barely communicate my thoughts in a coherent manner. So if I judged myself on a comparative basis, then was the 25-year-old me a failure relative to the 18-year-old me? No, what it came down to is it was just a different point in my life. And there's no point or there's no benefit to drawing any type of comparisons or placing judgment on the 18-year-old person that saying, oh, this David at 18 has everything going for them and this person is so lucky, relative to the 25-year-old, where a lot of people would think that someone who's sleeping 20 hours a day is like, and who couldn't hold a job and, graduated from an Ivy League university, but now is not working, or 3 years earlier was getting all this positive press and now they're struggling to take care of their day-to-day responsibilities. Like, passing judgment on that person is also unfair because everyone is going to go through trials and tribulations that they have to overcome. So remember that the thing that got me through the negative experiences that I had at 25 is I was able to keep things very simple, and then I always had a desire for self-improvement. So once I recognized that the medications that I was on at 25 were having very harmful effects, I started to take control of my own health. And I know that one of the big problems and challenges that people have is there's a lot of competing and conflicting information out there. If I go on Google, I can always find two sides to every story. When I have an 11-month-old son and we were making decisions on whether to vaccinate the child or not, and there are a multitude of articles out there that are pro-vaccination and anti-vaccination. If you want to make a decision about whether you should eat carbs, there are a multitude of articles, and you can find articles on Google on both sides of the equation about saying how the body metabolizes carbs and it increases your glycemic index when you eat too much flour or sugars. And then there are other articles that say that eating a little bit or eating some sugar isn't going to have any negative side effects to you. So what you really have to do is keep things as simple as possible and also have a constant desire to improve yourself. The one thing that allowed me to not get so depressed that I wanted to commit suicide at 25 years old is I always had hope and a belief that I could improve my situation. And I did not engage in any type of comparisons versus the 18-year-old me, or I knew that there were a lot of people when I was 25, a lot of my friends at that specific moment who were doing a lot better than myself. But at that time, I didn't resent them or I wasn't jealous of them that they were doing much better than me. I just had confidence that if I worked on myself and improved my situation, then I could accomplish my goals and live a life that I would be fulfilled with. And to be quite honest, like right now, I am not entirely fulfilled. Like I don't believe that I've lived a life of amazing purpose, or I don't think that everything's perfect, or I don't think that I've accomplished much of anything. I think that there's a lot of things that I can improve upon, and I still have a tremendous amount of things that I wanna get better at. Like for example, I waste a shitload of time, and in the morning I always have to, or I should focus on getting the most important thing done. Like I shouldn't be checking email or doing other things or checking sports or reading any articles. I should just focus on the most important task. And that's a constant struggle for myself. A few other things that I've realized is I used to engage in a pretty dramatic gratitude and appreciation practice where I would meditate on gratitude and give thanks for everything that I have. But to be honest, that didn't work so well for myself. And I think that the reason why is it engages, when you express gratitude, in a way, you're also engaging in comparisons, because you're giving thanks and gratitude for having something, but then you're also kind of reminding yourself that other people don't have it. So I'm giving thanks to living in a beautiful place or being healthy, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, you're also saying, okay, well, I'm very fortunate that I am healthy, or that I'm capable of living today, or that I'm alive, whereas many other people are struggling. And I think that type of gratitude practice, where you're giving thanks but constantly reminding yourself that you have something to be gracious for where other people don't, is actually the negativity subverts the gratitude practice or the appreciation practice. And I'm probably not describing this well, but I think that a much better way of engaging in some type of meditative happiness practice is just simply to be kind, and not to pass judgment. I can tell you from my experience that when I went to the spa a few days ago, there's a Cuban guy that I always see, and he's always extremely kind to me, but at the same time, he always puts down his own people. He puts down Cubans. He thinks that they're lazy. He mentioned like 2 or 3 days ago about, he mentioned something like, have you seen Puerto Ricans, or do you know any Puerto Ricans? And he made a comment about like how they don't like to work. And I was just thinking, I didn't want to like pass judgment on him. I didn't argue with him, but I don't know why he would engage in these type of negative stereotypes, because I know myself, I'm a product of everything, all my experiences and all my environment and all the decisions that I've made in the past. And I can guarantee you that there are situations that if I had experienced them, I would be a much different person right now. So many people think that I work hard, right? But I can guarantee you that if I was placed in different situations, the same person that I am could be incredibly lazy. Or if I was placed 100 times in the situation that I was in when I was 25, where I was sleeping 20 hours a day, maybe there are 20 or 30 times of those 100 situations where I would never make a recovery. Maybe there are 5 times out of those 100 where I would commit suicide. The point is that for someone to place judgment or to try to compare their situation against someone else is in no way helping their own situation, or it's in no way helping them accomplish their own goals, or it's not helping them reach their potential. So I think that, tying it back to the gratitude practice, you never want to draw comparisons. You really don't want to show appreciation for what you have, because what you have can be taken away from you. Instead, you should really focus on showing kindness. And if you see someone, since you don't know the next time that you'll see them, you should tell them how much you care about them. You should tell them like a time when how much you appreciate them, or how much they've helped you in the past. Like a positive experience that I had, I think it was just yesterday, where one of my roommates from 10 years ago reached out to me, and I just let him know how much I appreciated him, and how he was my first, he was like a big brother to me, and he was like my first real friend when I moved to Manhattan. And it just made me feel good that, that I was able to brighten his day. And that little act of kindness just makes me feel better. So instead of engaging in some type of comparative basis where I'm not like going on Facebook and seeing that this one person made like $100 million, because you don't know if that money is going to make that person happy. Like when I was 25 years old, I was still a millionaire, but I was fucking miserable. Like I was sleeping 20 hours a day. I recently got fired from a job, and I would have traded every single cent that I had in order to be able to not feel that pain that I felt inside. So you really don't want to engage in any type of comparative basis, comparisons, because you don't know what's going on. Instead, you should focus on being kind to others, because that's also, in a selfish way, going to help you. It's going to help you feel better about yourself. And at the same time, you want to try to be the best version of yourself as possible. Also remember that life is not fair. Bad things happen to good people, and good things happen to bad people. There are a lot of people out there who are unhealthy, who are in debt, some people who have bad habits, who are addicted to opioids, or who are addicted to drugs, or addicted to sugar, or who don't exercise. The main thing for those people is, don't judge yourself. You just have to get started. Take a little baby step. Maybe instead of eating something that you know is not healthy for you, then just skip that. Or just put your shoes on and try to go to the gym, or just go for a walk. Don't compare yourself against the Instagram models who have 500,000 followers, because I can tell you, I actually met with a guy from Instagram who has 6.5 million followers. I met with him on Sunday, and he was talking about how Instagram changed the algorithm, and how he used to make around $1,000 a day from shoutouts, but now he barely makes anything. And the reason why he's unhappy is because he judged himself based upon his Instagram following. So a lot of people who see all these people who are like minor celebrities, they think they convey positive characteristics to these people that these people themselves may not have. Like a guy looks at a pretty girl and then thinks that she has everything going for her, and then he intentionally doesn't talk to her because he feels that he's bothering her, or he feels that she would not be interested in him. But the problem with that type of exclusionary thinking is that if everyone thinks the same, then that beautiful girl is going to be very lonely, because no one is going to talk to her, because everyone is going to think that she has so many options. The point is, you don't know what's going on in other people's life. So the best thing that you can do is control things that are in your control, meaning work on being the best version of yourself. Make things as simple as possible. So instead of trying to get your information source from like 5 or 6 different things, just make a decision, test things out, and then go with what works. A few other things is, as I said, life is not fair. The only thing that you can do is put the odds in your favor. One thing that everyone can do well is surround yourself with positive people. If someone's negative and they're in your life, then you really should cut them out. And as I said earlier, happiness should not be the goal. Your goal should be to achieve your potential, reach your potential, and also help others. Because by helping others in a selfish way, you're also going to make yourself feel better. And also remember that life is a journey always. And things are not always perfect. Like right now, there are a ton of things that I want to work on, that I want to achieve, that I'm disappointed with myself, that I feel like I'm not doing a good enough job. And I'm okay with that, because I have confidence that eventually I'm going to get everything done and I'm going to improve myself. And if I don't, okay, at least I tried. But the point is that things are never perfect, and you should focus on improving yourself constantly throughout the journey and not comparing yourself with others.